Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about the fifth brother and seventh sister, the Inquisitors for Star Wars Legion. These are coming out very soon, and I thought this was a perfect time to put a list together, talk about some different build ideas. How are you going to be using the Inquisitors? That is my big question of the day. Let me know down in the comments what you plan to do to get these two on your tabletop. Are you going to run them both together? Are you going to run just one? And if only one, which one do you choose? There's definitely different circumstances to use them. They're relatively cheaper in cost and certainly could provide that melee defense, melee lightsaber user, force wielder option at a fraction of the cost of running someone like Darth Vader. And so they certainly have the option of being run individually, but because of some very cool synergies that they have, it's a cool idea to consider running them both. And I wanted to put a list together that might highlight some of the awesome things that you can do with them, some of the synergies, at least my take on it. I also want to hear your guys' take. I also want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens compatible with Star Wars Legion, as well as tokens compatible with other games like X-Wing or even Magic the Gathering. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. Check out these beautiful double-sided tokens. And while you're there, use Crabbok VIP as your discount code. You're going to save 15%. Orders that use that code that spend $35 or more are going to get a free Crabbok token. So they can, I mean, you're going to love this token, folks. It's got lightsaber nunchucks on it. It's got the little C logo on there. It's got a 5 on the back for higher damage counts. Really versatile and flexible token. Pretty cool stuff. So head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. All right, so we're going to put a list together, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with this one today. So today I'm using Legion HQ. This is a really cool tool by the 5th Trooper, and so I'm going to be using their list builder today, changing things up a little bit. And so I've got the fifth brother and seventh sister in here. So they have some really cool stuff. Fifth brother, 105 points. Seventh sister is 110 points. They're not too expensive. Fifth brother's he's gonna start with Dauntless, Block, and Rage 2, and immune to Pierce. So he doesn't have charge right away, right? But he's got Ram 2 on his lightsaber, which means he's gonna do really, really good things with that. You just got to get him in position to where he can do it. That's awesome, though. I mean, I feel like your opponent's gonna be like, I don't want to shoot him. I think a lot of people are just like, I'd really rather not shoot him at all. Just let him run wild. He's gonna have to spend both of his actions to try to move and get in a position. And if he has to double move, he's not gonna be able to attack. So just don't attack him, right? And I'm fine with that. By all means, please don't attack him and let him run wild, like Hulkamania. He's going to run wild. Seventh Sister has a little bit more of a selection of keywords. She's got Block, Charge, Disciplined 1, Immune to Pierce, and Interrogate, which is a really cool ability. Getting in close, and all of a sudden you're kind of murdering the pips of your opponents. She's got Jump 1. And the Associate Fifth Brother, that is a cool ability that allows them to be able to both just take up one operative slot in your army. This is one of the things. Now, she gives me two different ideas for list building. One of those is Interrogate. It's one I'm not following through in this build, but I really think there's a beautiful synergy to be had with a commander who's using Cunning combined with Interrogate. I just really think it's a super cool idea to just say, oh, well, now your 3-pip counts as, or your 1-pip counts as a 2-pip, and Krennic's 2-pip wins that tie, or something like that. So I was really going, and I think there are definitely synergies with Krennic, but I didn't go with Krennic today for this list, but I feel like Krennic has synergy with her. And I want to do that. Maybe that'll be a whole different build, but I think that's going to work. But yeah, Interrogate is going to be really cool. Now again, they also have the red defense die. They're going to do pretty good. They're going to do some pretty good things. I'm sure of it. All right, so we're going to give our Inquisitors some upgrades, and they're going to be mostly the same, I think. So let's start off. We've got our training. And so I want to give the seventh sister and fifth brother both tenacity. Tenacity is going to be really nice on them. They're going to be very similar. All right, there's tenacity on both of them. Fifth brother is also going to get Inquisitorious training, and this is just such a really cool ability. I love this upgrade. It's giving them demoralize. Let me pull it back up here. It's giving them demoralize, and it's giving them the chance to basically just cancel another force user card, which is awesome. And it does kind of make you, and I'm going to put that on both of them. And it kind of begs the question: do I really want force upgrades that I'm going to be able to tap, or exhaust to use, like force push? Because if I go up in a mirror match, I might get a taste of my own medicine and not be able to force push away because you're somebody else that has Inquisitorious training might do the same thing. So there's definitely an option, and like I really considered possibly running fear on the Inquisitors because it gives them another demoralize. Then it could have demoralize 2 innate. There's command cards that also give demoralize. You could have a whole ton of demoralization, but since there's limits to how much suppression I really want to put on other units, because if I make somebody panic, they just kind of lose their activation. They don't run away anymore. It's not quite as cool, but it's still kind of cool. I'm like, I feel like there's a use case to run fear, and that kind of depends on how much Inquisitors are sort of running wild, like a Hulkamania, how it tends to run wild, or at least used to run wild. It doesn't run wild so often anymore. I'm curious how often we're going to see fear-based Inquisitors, or at least non-action-based Inquisitors. But I'm going to give both of these Inquisitors force push as well. All right, so we're going to put force push on both of our Inquisitors. The other thing that Seventh Sister offers us is that ability to kind of share the same rank as the Fifth Brother, which means you can have a whole nother operative, and that's what I'm going to add here. I'm going to add another operative, and that is going to be IG-11. And I'm kind of going with a little bit of the demoralized one. They're going to be putting a lot of suppression. I like some suppressive attacks. I like some of what that can do. Combined with the extra suppression that they're putting out, I'm like, we can probably still do it without fear, without the extra demoralization, and that would also be another synergy with Krennic. And so if you're going, and again, I think Krennic is a viable option. He's not great, but I think he can work with what they're doing here. I don't know how. He definitely can work. I don't even have to say I think he can work. He absolutely can work. So IG-11, he's got long range. I love the range 4 attack. He's got surge to hit built in. But he's a merc, and that's going to be a little bit of a problem because I'm going to have to give him bounty, right? Bounty programming. I like the bounty programming. He's programmed, so I've got to give him something. Bounty programming is going to give him AI. And so that AI is going to be nasty. There it is. There it is. There we go. So AI, aim, and attack, and a bonus because they'll either have pierce or suppressive. And so I kind of like the idea of getting suppressive on that gunslinger attack. Right? He's got gunslinger range 4, suppressive. It could be gorgeous. So I like that. I like that a lot. And that kind of works with what I'm going on here. Now, I do want to also give him the ability to seize the initiative. I don't think he'll have to do it all the time, but there's going to come points where he does not want to aim an attack, and I'll use seize the initiative for that. I'm not going to load him up with too many upgrades, but I am going to give him another one. I'm going to give him targeting scopes. He'll be aiming a lot, and so let's take advantage of the targeting scopes that are the equipment right there. So so we've got targeting scopes, we've got the bounty programming, so we've got 3 operatives. So that's kind of a cool thing that the Inquisitors can also do if you're looking to take a 3rd operative. Also, again, I've got melee covered with the 5th brother and the 7th sister. I've got my close range kind of covered. I need long range, and IG-11 is going to help me establish that. It is time for a commander. So I am going to add a commander. And for this one, I think an Imperial Officer is a great option. It's going to give you points. But I wanted to go with a little bit more of a commander. And I went with General Veers. This does give me some interesting choices when it comes to command cards. We'll talk about those here in a little bit. But General Veers is going to be doing some really interesting stuff with all of these guys. Now, there's a command card that kind of allows them a weird version of teamwork. When one person gets one, the other person gets something, and one person gets this, the other person gets something, and then you can also double up and let them gain a double of a token. So that was very, very cool. I want Veers to be able to have portable scanner. Also, there's going to be turns where he's just handing out tokens, and I wanted to have that flexibility while I'm learning what's best for the Inquisitors. So I think for like maybe my first game with Inquisitors, I'll do this, but it won't always be the case. So I'll go ahead to the equipment here, and I'll pick the portable scanner. This is going to allow me to hand out a dodge token. And then, of course, I can also hand out my aim token. So I can do aim, dodge, and then, oh, by the way, that dodge might trigger another aim, and the aim might trigger another dodge. And so we're doing all kinds of beautiful, groovy things. So I like what that can do with the Inquisitors, and that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to go with Veers. Although, to be fair, you could do something very similar with the Imperial Officer. So I think Officer is just a cheaper version of doing a lot of the same things. But since I've got some cool upgrades here, I'm going to go with Improvised Orders. This is going to help in a number of ways. For one, I've got IG-11. You know, I'm going to have a harder time getting him to do exactly what I want him to do. And we've got some, you know, a little bit of flexibility. I like Improvised Orders. It's a good card. It's not crucial here. We could drop it and save some points. But I do like Vigilance when I have Force users. They don't have Deflect. They have the blocking. So, but Vigilance is going to help them save a dodge token. Again, I want Veers to be able to support these Inquisitors, and Vigilance is going to help him do that. So he's got a lot. He's a very, very support Veers kind of plan for him, and that kind of works. Okay, so we've got a lot of heavy hitters right now. We do need our core. And I definitely think there was options. I really toyed around with, I wanted to throw some support in here. I was going to put E-Webs in with their suppression generator, but I decided to do something a little bit different. And I'm going to do a Shore Trooper, and I'm going to do 2 of these. So I'll do them the same. I'm just putting the T-21B, which is a great heavy weapon option in there, and I'm going to duplicate that, and then I'm going to also add 2 of the DF-90 mortars. Now, what I love about the mortars, the DF-90 mortar, is a beautiful fire support, which, again, I love fire support. You see me talk about it a lot. It's one of my favorite things to run. It's got critical 1 on there. It's got suppressive, and that was one of the reasons, again, I wanted to run the mortar. And I'm like, well, you know what? Or rather, the E-Web. Like, the mortar kind of does a lot of what the E-Web wants to do, at least with having a range 3 to 4 suppressive. So this one can stay kind of in the back. It's got good standby range with Sentinel. But you can only take those for every Shore Trooper. So that gives me 4 core already. I'm going to add an extra core. And this one is going to be a little on the basic side. But I'm wanting to cover some of my bases. I'm going to go with a regular Stormtrooper, and I'm going to give them the DLT-19, and I'm also going to throw a medical droid in there. So that gives me some long range. It gives me a little more impact. Again, we don't have a whole lot of impact. We do have some critical with the Stormtroopers. I'm sorry, with the Shore Troopers, we've got critical, and of course, if we can get into melee, we've got some impact with lightsabers. Right, lightsabers are always good with that. And then we also have General Veers that can also help out with impact. Now, we're at 800 points, which I like to always run my lists up to 800 points. Although, slightly more competitive builds will be a little bit more focused on the objectives and winning and deciding what kind of player, which edge of the board you're going to choose and all of that. I prefer to just make an all-comers list. I want to have a list that's good for, moderately good for just about everything. And in that case, I really don't care if I'm first or second player, which side of the board I get. I want to be prepared for all of those. So I like to just go to 800 points. I hate thinking that there's points. I could have had that upgrade and I just chose not to have it, because I might bid 10 points and somebody else beats me by, bids 11 and beats me. So I'm like, I'd rather just go with 800 points and know that I brought everything out on the field and I left 800 points on the field. That's how I like to do it. All right, let's look at our command cards, because we've got some interesting ones here. So I am going to go with, there's a lot of options. I'm not using any of IG-11's cards in this case. I'm using most of the Inquisitors cards, and I'm using I'm using 2 of Veers' cards. So if you use all of the Inquisitors cards, you're going to have a 1 pip left. So I'm just going to throw all of them in there right now. We've got Come and Prove It. We're going to use Would You Question. We've got Unexpected, but not Unwelcome. You hide your fear well, and I cannot, or rather, I came for your, what is this? I care not for your struggles. So these are which ones am I using? Which one did I not use? Oh, I decided I wasn't going to use You Hide Your Fear Well. This is one that I feel like I could probably do without. It's not a bad card. It's just one that I didn't really need. Another Demoralize for the Seventh Sister. I'm like, okay, well, she's already got the one. I've got a lot of suppression. I don't think she really needs the other Demoralized. But when somebody near her is suppressed, they re-roll one fewer dice while spending aim tokens. I'm like, that's okay. It's like really niche. There are some builds and some units that we're gonna have a lot of aim tokens, but it's not that great. And we're seeing more and more units with observe. And so observe is becoming more common. So I'm like that's okay, but I wanted to drop that one, so let me go ahead and drop I Care Not for Your Struggles. I'm sorry, I'm keeping I Care Not for Your... Let's drop You Hide Your Fear Well, because now that leaves me a 1 and a 3 pip, and those are the ones that I want from Veers. So I want maximum firepower, and then I want Imperial Discipline. And the Imperial Discipline is super important for this build because we have Force Push, and that's another thing that's really great about Veers in this case. So we'll kind of go through them. So 1 pip. Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister both being activated by a 1 pip, which is great. They're going to gain Indomitable. They roll an extra die when defending. It's just... and Seventh Sister can gain that dodge token. So, great card. All the more reason why you want to run both of them, because that works for both of them. Well, it's better for Seventh Sister, but it still works for both of them. Then we're running Would You Question Me? This is going to be probably our first turn play, or at least a second turn play, but probably a first turn play. Look, it's this is that one. This is why I brought Veers, right? When Fifth Brother gains an aim token, Seventh Sister gains a dodge token. So that's awesome. When Fifth Brother gains a dodge token, Seventh Sister gains an aim token. And guess what? I can have Veers just hang back by Fifth Brother and be like, all right, you get one of each, as a matter of fact, And when either unit gains an aim or dodge token, the other unit may gain an immobilized token. If they do, the unit gains an additional token of the same type. So, you can just really, you can load up on tokens here, And the way that this is written, too, it's could I do all of those together? Could I just if they weren't going to move at all, right? If they were just going to load up on immobilized tokens, could they then just double up on every instance of that, and then Veer's just going brr, brr, they're not clones, and they're not, they don't have the ability to share tokens, but you could really load up on tokens with these guys, which is also really cool if they happen to be locked in melee with somebody too. So I like that card. It's cool, and it's a permanent, so it's just very, very cool. All right, Unexpected but Not Unwelcome. That's a 2 pip. It's issuing them each in order. When a unit is issued an order by this card, it recovers. Again, we got Force Push. That's awesome. When Seventh Sister is attacking a commander or operative unit with a face down order card, during the roll attack dice step, she may gain up to 2 suppression tokens. She gains an aim token and a suppression token for each one gained this way. All right, I Care Not for Your Struggles. Fifth Brother and 2 troopers. 1 to 5 he gets to do that, and he gives them Dauntless, which is always nice. Of course, maximum firepower is going to be great for that long range. This is an optional first turn play. Imperial Discipline is very simple. It's 3 pip, 3 orders. 1 has to be to Veers, and it's got Recovery on there. And then, of course, Standing Orders. So we've got a lot of recovery options. And I think this is a pretty simple, straightforward list. We could definitely, there's definitely some ways to kind of free things up a little bit. But, honestly, the fact that these guys don't have Master of the Force, we have 2 ways for them to recover just from command cards in this list. So they're going to be able to use Force Push pretty liberally. They're going to be able to use it at least 3 times in this game without having to actually waste an action on recovery. Although they might want to waste an action on recovery if they end up tripling up on tokens and get a bunch of immobilized tokens. So there's definitely a ton of options there. So that's the list. It's a fun one. I think it's pretty cool. As far as objective, deployment, and condition, I usually go all comers on these. So I usually run breakthrough. A lot of times I run with a lot of the standard ones. You know, I don't usually run hemmed in. I don't advanced positions. I run that one all the time. A lot of times I'll run clear conditions. Limited visibility I might do here because I don't have any like snipers. Definitely got a decent amount of range for attacks, but limited visibility is going to protect me a little bit more as I'm trying to move them in, and so I could definitely see myself going with that. And I always run supply drop too. I always run supply drop because it's just fun. You know, and technically you can give your opponent something good also, but it's like it's just makes the game fun. So I enjoy supply drop. I think it's a cool one, but yeah, definitely. I'll put a link to this list down in the video description below so you guys can check it out. But I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know about Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister. What are some of the synergies that you are thinking of running? Are you planning on running like extra red sabers? You can run Darth Vader with these two and just kind of go really big into the theme of like Inquisitors and, you know, like just coming after you. It'd be fun to do that. It really would be. All right, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are out of this world. I will talk to you guys later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Always wash your socks and have a great day.